Hey everybody, welcome back to Zero Rose Typology. We've got G here. We're going to cover this model citizen today, Jodi Arias. And her typing is a little bit of a work in progress. We were seeing some potentially different things for her instincts, but I thought we could just kind of talk it out, work it out as we go. And I thought this picture here was pretty interesting, this kind of candid shot. And what pops out at you here, G?
Well, I see the eyes, they seem very like they radiate joy. Even though she seems like the way her hands are positioned sounds almost like she's possessing Travis, and Travis looks a little bit like I don't want to say necessarily scared. I think he's still he seems kind of like
He
and
looks
she's like
uncomfortable. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah. But at the same time she doesn't seem as like let's say compared to somebody like what's the name of that, like Richard Simmons and things, and as in she seems happy but not as like she
Out
seems a
there.
little bit more like
More contained. Yeah, yeah, you were just saying that she seems was we were talking probably core two, wing three, and she does have a very contained feeling within her. And I was thinking perhaps that could be a secondary nine wing one fix, making her kind of like soft and princessy, giving her a little more withdrawn influence up front. But I mean, I do think that there's a lot of points for her for being an image type.
I agree.
Um, like right here, not that like people who aren't like image up front can't be a lover of a good selfie, but I'm sure this woman just loved the camera in a way that perhaps most people do not. What do you think?
Yeah, and also to look at the eyes, like she looks like she's really locked in going to what she wants, and uh Travis looks more vacant, even though he looks more comfortable in that picture. He's like his eyes look very vacant by comparison, which I think it's a good differentiator there because twos have very like when they want something emotion like relationally speaking, like they especially twos with sexual in the stack, which
Mhm,
is
mhm. Yeah, yeah, for sure with her. So for the people who don't know, I did such a deep dive into this case. This case was, well, like 15 years ago. But it was a huge cultural juggernaut at the time. And I think partially because the way that she presents and like for instance this is her mugshot, like she's obviously very pretty, and the way she presents herself is very sweet and innocent and almost childlike, but the crime itself was so horrific and the evidence was very overwhelming, to the point that she had basically almost nearly photographed herself committing the crime. And before leaving, she took the digital camera and put it in the washing machine, but they were able to extract the card basically and get all the pictures off of it, putting her like time stamped at the crime scene during the time of the homicide. Um, do you have any thoughts on that?
yeah, it's really weird and almost seems like even though she doesn't seem as like I think she's also an introvert the typing MBTI wanted to add that there is still a part of her that wants the attention or perhaps some form of which seems very two-ish, like especially or image in general. Like she committed a fashion crime, and because she just wants to be on the spotlight, seems very double image. She just even if he will sabotage her freedom or not be really smart, to document a crime like this. For instance, like a counterphobic sits in contrast to like put that contrast more starkly, will want to cover every track, will like Whereas in this case, maybe a part of her wanted some form of validation from it,
Hmm.
because even from the interviews, I gathered that she felt betrayed or hurt by Travis's indecisiveness and actions, almost like
Yeah.
she was used by him.
Hmm. And I think in a sense she was. And
Yeah,
with her tri-type, we were thinking 269, 296. She was doing the two thing of in an interpersonal sense, like I will be whatever you want me to be. I mean, she also had BPD, so there is that. Um, so that would like heighten if you have like a personality disorder, I think that just kind of heightens the your whatever's going on with your Enneagram type. But she was down to do whatever with him in the bedroom and did. And because he was a very religious guy, he was a Mormon, he didn't have any respect for her.
yeah,
And he was actually part of her defense was claiming that she had been like psychologically, emotionally, even physically abused. And they had some evidence like recorded um like sex calls between them where he said some pretty awful degrading things to her, but she was putting up with it because she was like, well, I'll be whoever he needs me to be because I need to be needed, which is kind of like the low health two thing in action. And then when she did so much to be this guy's dream girl, like she converted to Mormonism for him, and he actually baptized her. And I mean, she rearranged her whole life for this guy, and he still didn't want her, and she was going to kill him. And she did. So, do you have any thoughts?
yeah. To me, I mean, there are different perspectives on the lines of connection, but because even though she's a very soft, like almost introverted and shy, like lady, like it seems to me like consensual aid is called possession, and and it seems to me that she was willing to accommodate and be and fulfill all of his sexual fantasies. Then he will tell her, "You are not wife material," or like say that or make comments on her behavior or lifestyle, almost like he will ask or request sexual things from her. She will do everything that he desire, and then he still will treat her like shit, or almost treat her like she's some like
The
like
dirty secret.
dirty secret, something to be
Yeah.
ashamed of. And
Hmm.
like she was like, no, I'm not letting you go. I'm not gonna take your no. I want you, and and that feel like she was like, nope, like
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel like there's an element with all the rejection types. I mean, obviously leverage is a big theme, but like 2, 5, and 8, it's rejection in the sense that like it's seeing people as almost like items or possessions, especially for two possessions to be maneuvered. And when he wasn't maneuverable in the way that she wanted, maybe she wanted like a ring, she wanted to be on his arm, like she was gonna make him pay because he wasn't fulfilling the role in her life that she wanted. And
yes,
interestingly, she kind of looks a little bit like a little bit of a Marilyn Monroe vibe here.
yeah, and she has those also very laser focused eyes, almost like she's like she really. It's hard for me to recreate them because I have more anger, like because I'm not positive like that, but the strong focus in there, kind of like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
creepy
kind of
there.
like the SX hooking thing. And I think
Mhm.
that's why people were like part of the reason why people were so fascinated by her because she's actively she was doing tons of interviews. And kind of funny because like that's like a lawyer's worst nightmare. It's kind of like keep your mouth shut until the trial. But this woman, I think in like kind of an imagey way, in a social way, was very actively trying to get her story and control and like curate her image to the public. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, to me it seems, she has a very like a capability of being almost more, how can I say, if I mean it could be explained by a secondary nine fits, could be explained by SP in the stack or SxSp, or there seemed a way in which she was really like she changed her story multiple times,
Hmm.
but underneath you could see an emotionality that she was very in control of, even though you know like she really was great at selling this image of being more innocent and soft than what she did, you know?
Yeah, and speaking of that, there's still people to this day, like if you search Jodi Arias, like there's little fan clubs, like none of these are hers. People are like, free Jodi, she's innocent. So, I mean, she's doing some pretty expert image crafting that people either love her or hate her, you know? Do you want to just check out this video first to see some of
Yeah,
the
of
imaging
course.
stuff? Okay.
Sorry, not roll the tape yet. Jody, how did you meet Charlotte? When? We met at the Rainforest Cafe in the MGM Grand.
So there was a longer clip, and it was kind of like sneaky subversive journalism because they were filming her while she was like touching up her makeup. And in that documentary, I mentioned before she got her mugshot, she asked them if she could touch up her makeup. They're like, "Ma'am, you've just been charged with first degree murder, and you're worried about your makeup for your mugshot." So like the image thing is always like front and center all the time.
Yeah. And also just perhaps a degree, maybe she might be a sociopath. I mean, we're not here to diagnose her DSM-5, but there was a certain detachment from like, I guess, reality in a more immediate way, which could be a number of things. But image type on top of that will magnify that.
Yeah, the detachment from reality, I should just show this really short clip. This is what I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
2008, Jodi Arias has been arrested. She's being interrogated, and what does she do as the officer leaves the room? She goes into a handstand and begins singing to herself. Guys, we have audio of this. Arias. Okay, let's listen. Who is now dead serious when she said, "He's done your makeup." All right, there she is. You saw that.
Okay, that was kind of the crux of it. And then I think they just show it again. So like this woman is extremely casual. She's just been charged with first degree murder and presented with all this evidence because they're trying to get a confession out of her. And they leave the room and it's time to do a little tumbling in their room and just like, I should have done my makeup. This is kind of the vibe that like a stereotypical SP blinds, like ditzy, airhead, disconnected from reality.
Interesting that that's the reasoning behind it blind, because to me I was thinking that I was thinking more so in the terms of high social, like usually 269s can feign when they believe that they're innocent, they cry a lot, or they will be like, or like having like that kind of face on, like it seems to me like, from what I've gathered, because well, my mom is a nine, she's not a two, but she's a 962, and I've noticed that she's really quick to start crying, and I don't see that in Jodi as much, which is really interesting to me. My mom also has a lot of social, but whenever 269s want to, perhaps they genuinely believe they're innocent. When they do this, when they start crying, like, or making a pouty face, like I didn't do it. Like I don't. She seems kind of more. How can I explain this? Like she's doing all these exercises or singing, almost like the trial is beneath her, which is really interesting to me, as opposed to like, so because yeah, some people will put more on 469s, but 469s tend to be more kind of like, I don't know if that makes sense. I can be a little bad with words in that sense to articulate it. If
Mm-hmm.
just what I was thinking, like the 269 plus social to me, they send a lot of social signaling. Like they can't really shut it off, especially if they're social first. If they're social second, I could see a case for her being trapped in this more assets dumb sort of fantasy world and using social more as like an instrument as opposed to something that she's genuinely attached to. Like she doesn't seem attached to social, if that makes sense. That's kind of what I'm explaining.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that she probably was very confident in her ability to manage her image. Like at one point, doing an interview before the trial, she said, like very confidently, no jury is going to convict me. So I think like all of her life, one of her strategies, well, because she had gotten in trouble before, was selling like this I'm innocent, squeaky clean image. And I think she just thought that people would accept that in spite of the overwhelming evidence against her. And I think another point that stood out to me, for her like not being social blind is that she's still very active in communicating and doing the image thing from prison. She has a Substack. I was not able to read any of them because they're all paywalled, sadly. Um, but it's like this light, airy, just happy thoughts from prison. Um, so like this to me is her still interacting with the social realm as much as she can from, I'm assuming like probably like a high security prison. She's writing, she's still putting out and selling artwork. I mean, we can look at some of the titles. Unfortunately, I can't read them, but I wasn't gonna sub. I had a good roommate, but I had to leave her. So like that's like to me it kind of gives like I need to put my version of events out there. I need to set the record straight. And I think that also gets to why she was doing so many interviews. Like even before in between her getting a guilty verdict and prior to her sentencing, she was giving interviews, which is kind of crazy. Like she was doing image management and also managing like the social environment, the framing around it. Even while she really literally should have been like afraid for her life because she was facing the death penalty.
Yeah, the absence of fear is also really interesting to me, which is she might be head last, which is kind of because
Mm. Okay, yeah, head last. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah, and also the image management tools in general used kind of are more dependent on the external on others because they're an orders oriented type, and it's just it's as a trifix, they're very orders oriented. So even though she's very detached from the social realm, in my personal opinion, she is still kind of de depends on others to reflect her image to herself, and which is why she keeps engaging.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, especially a two in general, even like a very withdrawn 295 will still need that, that sort of like I am here, I am innocent, I am this like happy, ethereal, fairy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh like even as her life is being put under trial, which is like yeah, it does seem more withdrawn than Sid second, I would say. I would imagine a Sid two get more like emotional, histrionic, openly be like, I am innocent, they don't believe me, they are evil people. Like I'm like tend to or maybe frame Travis as a narcissist. That's what I've seen more in people who are more like social down to Sids or Sids two. They kinda speak more,
Mm-hmm.
versus
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and I do have some quotes of hers here. Um, I am innocent. And like you said, she changed her story multiple times. Like I think her lawyers
Yeah.
got her to change it again because she was claiming we were just hanging out and these two randos broke in and killed Travis and let me live. Um, and then eventually she changed it to like a self-defense thing. And of course was painting herself as the victim, which could have just been the strategy of her lawyers. So I'm not sure how much you can necessarily read into that, but like here she said I would rather have gone to my grave than admit I had done something like that. So that's like a very two-ish super ego needing to not only believe that she is this sweet innocent person, but needing other people to believe it as well. And she also did the thing where she claimed that she like disassociated during the killing to the point that she had amnesia and she didn't remember, like she blacked out, which I've heard is like super improbable for people to actually have like periodic selective amnesia like that. They just don't want to, they just, they don't want to admit like, oh yeah, I did that and I remember every second of it.
Yeah,
It's,
the amnesia seems almost like bullshit, honestly. I think I watched this clip of one forensic psychologist, like looking at the micro expressions in her eyes and the left side of her face that indicated that she was, well, being deceptive or lying. And what's a little uncanny about her is that even like it seems to me that she knows that she's lying, but she's just very calculative with her words. So that's why she has to be calm and contained. Whereas there are people that I've observed cases of criminals that they don't believe themselves to be, and they speak more off the cuff and ramble about their innocence, but in a way that that is. I don't know if you have watched, for instance, like Charles Manson when he's like, "I am innocent. I never broke the law." He's more reactive, of course, and they generally might believe their own lies. Whereas Jodi, it's hard to tell whether she actually believed her own lies or she knew what she was doing all along. I
Mhm.
think, which is
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would lead with Erlene towards her carefully constructing this narrative and with the premeditation, like she'd stole the gun from her grandparents. She had staged a break-in to their home. She was living with the grandparents at the time. And she got the gun a week beforehand. And then she had gotten extra gas tanks so she wouldn't have to stop at a gas station in Arizona where Travis was living. So she had planned a trip from California to Utah where there was some convention that she was going to go to, but there was like all these unaccounted for hours and the two gas cans that she had borrowed so she could get in and out of Arizona without like being caught on surveillance footage in like a gas station. So I think it was premeditated and the kind of like really dirty part of it was that she showed up to his house and they engaged in an afternoon delight, we'll just say, which they photographed. And then he gets in the shower and she goes up and she's taking pictures of him right before she starts stabbing him. So it was almost, to me, it feels like kind of like this sexual to I own you and like photographing him to get I don't know, it's just it feels to me like some sort of like you belong to me. And also obviously like if I can't have you, no one's gonna have you and I'm gonna delete you from this world because she had just found out that he was gonna take another woman on this trip to like Vegas or something. And I think that was the final straw for her. And when she decided to get revenge on him. But I mean like here you can see the this super ego part, like, I'm going to be sorry for the rest of my life. I was horrified by what I'd done. I want everyone's healing to begin. I just want everyone's pain to stop. It's very 2-9. Um, and still saying she's actually the victim here. And if I'm allowed to live in prison, I will continue to donate. It's like this sugary sweet 2-ish thing, and I thought it was really funny. I don't know if you saw this clip, G, but
Oh, I want to watch it.
okay. So this
Yeah.
was right after she had been sentenced and the victims were allowed to give their victim impact statements, like his family, and it was very emotionally charged, and she's like completely unaffected by it, and she's actually facing them when this is what she does.
I designed a t-shirt. Which 100% of the proceeds go to support nonprofit organizations, which also assist other victims of domestic violence. Some people may not believe that I am a survivor of domestic violence. They're entitled to their opinion. I'm supporting this cause because it's very, very important to me.
So that was it. And like that to me is like unbelievably tone deaf, where she's murdered these.
Yeah.
And she's like selling, I'm a victim and I'm going to help other victims and I'm just a sweet person.
Yeah, it still doesn't read very social. It's two, like a two that's very bad at reading the room in general, but it's very compliant. Oh yeah, the also the thumbnail on the right, she's doing a kissy face. She looks very SX2 in that thumbnail.
Right here,
The
this
one
one.
where it's saying lawyers share never before. The third thumbnail, like I think,
Oh yeah, the kissy face.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
combined with the kind of like piercing eyes and the kissy face, it looks very SX2, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Yeah, just the funny thing, I'm like, she wants people to heal and that she's a survivor of domestic abuse. It seems very obvious that she's trying to cover herself uh m- in some way or another, and it's like she doesn't even buy it herself. She doesn't even seem afraid of consequences. It seems to me that it doesn't seem to register, which is I don't know if we could time that to type or what you have to comment on that end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's like commonly cited stereotypical two behavior is when they get called out on their bullshit, being manipulative or controlling, whatever. They're really quick to like, but I'm the victim and how dare you?
Yeah.
And I think this video was kind of funny and also like a really good case for like sexual two type of behavior with her former cellmate.
The
Oh,
sociopath.
Tracy Brown was Jodi's cellmate for 5 months, but has a permanent reminder of the killer. 6 tattoos, personally inked by Jodi. One even has her name on it. How does that make you feel to have her name on your ankle?
That was the biggest mistake I ever made. This is crushed up lead.
Tracy showed me how Jodi used lead from a pencil, mascara, and a makeshift needle to tattoo other inmates. That's how Jodi made extra money in jail, along with selling her original artwork.
So talented.
Tracy has kept some of her hand-drawn pieces. The ex-cellmate says Jodi flirted with correctional officers, which is how she was able to keep all of the prohibited equipment she needed for her tattoos.
There were a couple officers, she would flirt with and fly her hair with, and they would find the tattoo equipment, things you can get in trouble for. Leave it alone.
Thanks to the ex-cellmate, we're also learning more about the night Jodi committed the murder. Tracy Brown says while she and Jodi Arias were cellmates here at the Estrella Jail in Phoenix, Arizona, Jodi Arias actually confessed to murder, but claimed her ex-boyfriend was not the intended target.
She went there hoping to find this other woman and kill her because she took her place.
Before his murder, Travis Alexander had been dating Lisa Daydone while continuing to secretly have sex with Arias.
Tracy says Arias confessed during a quiet moment in their cell.
I'm just watching her, and she kind of goes down to her knees on the floor. And I was looking at her, I said, "What are you talking about?" And she started crying, just a couple tears coming out of her eyes. And then it was done.
Tracy says Arias also admitted to stalking her ex-boyfriend in his backyard.
She said she would lie awake in bushes and watch him. And if she was ever caught, she would tell him she was there to get her social security card.
The ex-cellmate also claims that Jodi Arias has a troubled relationship with her parents, even though they supported her during her trial and appeal.
We love our daughter, we support her, and we stand behind her.
She was so mean to her mom, coming all the way from California to Arizona. You know, it's a long trip, and there's at times she'll deny their visits because she wants to visit with a guy that she is manipulating.
The friendship between the two ex-cellmates continued for a time, even after Tracy's release. This is one of the many letters Arias wrote to her.
"Tracy, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height of my soul can reach.
The defendant shall be incarcerated in the Department of Corrections for the rest of her natural life."
But after she was given a life sentence in 2015, Jodi Arias was transferred to state prison and abruptly cut off all communication. I think all was lost.
Garbage. She will use you to get what she wants. And when she's done with you, she will throw you away.
All right, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this further kind of like she seems very detached from people in general. Like the rejection aspect of two seems even stronger. Like she uses people and discards them. I could see the case for sexual first. I think SP is present personally. I think we could perhaps because I think like okay, so from my experience, 269 and SP last tend to almost like they let them their own needs or boundaries go to the point where they're always rattled up or anxious, almost like it can look like seeds in a way. So, but she seems more strategic and cutting with how she's like using people or to like, despite a very soft and very mellow, really sweet like exterior, which is like I wouldn't say she's bad at setting necessarily boundaries. To me, it seems like she's just because all twos are very emotional people that it seems to me that she's just so married to this fantasy image of herself. And the fact that she wanted to murder Travis's new girlfriend, and probably she felt like this heartbroken girl that was used and was like standing up for herself, and she didn't want to really, how can I say this? Um, it seemed to me that her more self-involved commitment to her image was more important than necessarily convincing other people. Like she was so convinced that she was innocent that she didn't really, she doesn't seem desperate to have other people be convinced as much, which even though she's trying to perhaps reduce her sentence, like she's not almost begging for people to believe her, which is interesting to me. Uh, Perhaps that core seats of the 269 combo, like on social first, like might be more prone to being like, I didn't do it, I didn't do it, please believe me. Like I don't see that
Mhm.
degree of
Yeah.
affective. Like it could also be that she's sociopathic and psychopathic, which might be obscuring the 269's dependency on other people. Because I've known 269s and they usually will cry or get kind of rattled up if people think that they're bad.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. This right here caught my eye. I haven't seen this one.
The way you see an
huh,
idea
yeah.
and shape it into something that
Interview with Jodi Arias. Just hours after pleading for her life in front of the jury, she spoke with ABC's Ryan Owens, who joins us now from Phoenix. You've been covering this trial from the beginning, and now you had a chance to talk to her. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning to you, Robin. You're right. We sat down with her for almost an hour last night. She was worried about her hair. She was worried about her makeup and especially about her wardrobe. She did not want anyone to see those stripes that they make them wear in jail here. But the one thing she seemed to not be very worried about is the very real possibility she could be sentenced to death as soon as later today.
To this day, I can hardly believe I was capable of such violence.
Even though Jodi Arias repeatedly said she'd rather die than spend her life in prison, when it really counted, the convicted killer changed her tune, she claims, to spare her family.
I thought I'd rather die. But as I stand here now, I can't in good conscience ask you to sentence me to death because of them.
Just hours after her final plea for mercy, we found out the 32-year-old wasn't done talking. She sat down with me for a 40-minute jailhouse interview Tuesday night. I started with that statement to the jury and the words she didn't say to Travis Alexander's family. Why didn't you apologize to them?
I did apologize to them.
You never said I'm sorry.
I said that I'm sorry, that I'll never be able to make up for what I did, and that I can never replace their loss.
But you didn't use the word I'm sorry.
Well, then I'm sorry I didn't say that, because certainly I am sorry. I think in a sense, the words I'm sorry just seem meaningless, especially since nobody believes what I'm saying anyway.
You said it right there. No one believes a word out of your mouth. Why do you keep talking?
Well, because I know that I've lied before. That doesn't mean that I'm a liar by definition, by character.
What do you think of this jury? It's pretty clear they don't think too much of you. I wonder what you think of them.
I don't know. I feel a little betrayed by them. I don't dislike them. I just was really hoping that they would see things for what they are, and I don't feel that they did.
To a lot of people, they think this switch from I want to die to now I want to live is just another lie from Jodi Arias.
Well, I don't know what that means. Was I lying when I said I want to die, or was I lying when I say, please spare my life? Whatever happens, I'm just going to take it and deal with it.
You said today you want to give Travis's family closure. You know they want you dead. So why don't you give them that closure?
Well, what do you mean by that? Why don't I kill myself? Is that what you're asking?
No, why don't you accept the fate of the death penalty if you know that's what they want? If you truly care about their closure.
Well, I've caused them a lot of pain. I've caused my family a lot of pain. And I think that by asking for death, I'm only going to cause more pain to my family.
If you were on that jury and you had heard what they have heard.
See, I see like a two-ish superego thing happening where she's like, I just want to spare my parents the pain of losing me. I don't want to cause any more pain. When she can't just come out and say, well, like, obviously she doesn't want to die because that's scary. She's got to make it about wanting to not hurt her parents, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. I wonder if the wing her seats could even be five because I see some extra rejection. Like, I know there are 269s that are more hypochondriac, and especially also 279s, usually people that are 2 and 3 who have like strong 6 wing 7 or 7 wing 6 who might be like, oh my God, everybody. Like, I'm such a, like, I do so much for other people. I help everybody. I don't want to die. They're going to kill me. Like, she seems very like, well, I don't want people to suffer. If I have to take it, I will. Kind of more, it seems very, it's just really interesting to me that I don't see, definitely, yeah, that just confirms to me further that it's like the head fix will be last. And she's still doing the core two kind of like you can still see that she's in pain when she's being told these things, almost like she's indignated or disappointed, but she's like, okay, sure. She's not really fighting much, which seems also like
There is some sass though where she's pushing back on him because I mean like her trying to sell a t-shirt after
yeah.
I mean that was callous in the extreme, but also there was more to that statement where she was doing like the two image thing of reframing it and not accepting really the gravity of the guilt that she did incur. Um but I also see a lot of like positivity in her type where especially in her art like Someone I was talking to was even thinking that she could be a triple posi because, like, to me, these images kind of seem like almost something like a 14-year-old would draw, and she's got to be like in her early 40s by now. But very SO, like it's all zoomed in on faces and and very bright, very colorful, almost like there's like a simplicity to it. And this is like obviously how she's seeing herself, kind of like this caged bird in a cell, but like with the positive inner type, it's more of like this dreamy, abstract type of thing that she would rather paint. And there's your SX right there. Um, but again, even this is kind of like it's suggestive, but it's still kind of innocent, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm seeing that sort of ethereal, like I think definitely SS is really high in the stack, which will magnify that more like abstract and soft vibe as opposed to being as striking or bold. The fact that there are faces, I mean, I don't think that's social. Personally, I think that might be uh well, 269 and attachment types and two are very others oriented. So in general. So I think she is by nature very, even if she's very contained and introverted, her perception of the world is shaped by other people. It's just kind of comes with the others orientation. And I do see the line to four as well. There are some melancholic, sad themes like the eye with a tear, or the kind of like. I've also noticed that she's good with detail, which is really interesting. Like she
Mhm.
seems very like precise, which can be very 9-win-1-ish in a way, which
Hmm.
will confirm her second fits.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see like the 911 influence and like it's just kind of like a pretty, but it's like very abstract. Pretty, it's pleasant, it's nature. It's there's kind of like a calm feel to it. And then there's like,
Mhm.
a lot of whimsical stuff like why is she painting this? You know what I mean? Like why is Jodi Arias drawn to this? It's like very whimsical, it's very childlike. And you could be a little bit more um ungracious and say that it's totally an act, like the sweet and innocent thing. But I don't really think it is because even leading up to the crime, she had kept a diary, like a very detailed diary. There was a lot of entries about Travis, and she never said anything bad about him at all. And I think that points to the positivity in her type. It was all very glowing, talking about how much she loved him. And it didn't help her case because when they were trying to paint her as an abuse victim acting in self-defense, they were like, well, first of all, there's no evidence that you were actually abused, and also all of your diary entries about him are only saying extremely positive things.
Interesting. Maybe that could, okay, interesting. Maybe the lack of defensiveness is indeed the absence of seats, but it could also be, she could be a 297. But
Yeah,
in that case, I
people
will.
have suggested that 2-9's like a triple posse, but I just think there has to be some reactivity. I mean, you could say like she's got personality disorder, she's mentally ill, but that like that's a lot of reactivity, what she did.
Yeah, also SS2 going to 8 could be, I mean, she has a line to 4, line to 8. I'm also thinking she's an SS2, as opposed to social, but yeah, and I wanted to add that Um, one sec. So I got a video. I got a phone call. 1 second. Let me. Um, besides that, I'm not seeing a lot of defensiveness from her, even though she gets sassy and kind of like convinced that things are going to be okay in general. So yeah, the reactivity could, as I said before, SX2s are very intense as a type. Could be sexual. Sexual can mimic the reactive triad.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Should we watch a little more footage of her? I feel like we've mostly just talked about her.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Trial for her life, accused of the savage, frenzied murder of her ex-boyfriend.
I know that I'm innocent. God knows I'm innocent. Travis knows I'm innocent.
She's talking about Travis Alexander, a popular motivational speaker she dated for 5 months. The steamy affair with Jodi Arias came to an end last year when she says she discovered he was cheating.
It wasn't very pretty. Breakups are never easy, but that sort of signified the end of our relationship.
Last June, Travis was brutally murdered. Travis Alexander was found dead in his shower here at his luxury home in Mesa, Arizona. He was shot in the face, stabbed 27 times, and his throat was slit from ear to ear. Police found a camera here at the crime scene. On it, provocative naked photographs of Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander, taken the day he was viciously murdered. Another photograph shows Travis seriously wounded and bleeding. Prosecutors say 28-year-old Jodi went to her former boyfriend's home for a final tryst, took the provocative photographs, then murdered him. They even have Jodi's palm print in his blood.
Yeah, so I guess you could say that's points for head last that she made, even though she planned this in advance and did a lot of things smart, and she's not dumb. She made a quite a few like absolutely critical errors. Or you could even say that maybe she is just seven fixed and super delusional and really believed she was going to get away with all of this.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, I think her head fix will be last in any case. But I do think 297 is more likely, and SxSp will be my typing, which will further kind of make her more self-involved because SxSp can also look almost like four in that sort of like lives in their own emotional reality, and whereas like in contrast to social sits, there is none of this back and forth like fight or battle, like as in these people are evil and they are persecuting me. Like I don't see any of the social sits stuff at all, like compared to like just to think in comparison wise to 6-2s that I've known that can like play the victim, believe they're innocent, that they might cry or that might point to moral systems more, whereas she's just kind of sassy, convinced that she's going to get away with everything, and in this kind of dreamy, positive like world. Um, Also, her ability to seduce and charm other people without remorse will point towards that as well.
Okay.
Did you kill Travis out? Newborn parents, this is what you need for wake windows. You want the looker placate as soon Alexander.
I absolutely did not kill Travis Alexander. I had nothing to do with his murder. I didn't harm him in any way.
I met Jodi Arias for a jailhouse interview, her hair now light brown, and she dropped a bombshell describing for the first time what she says happened the day of the murder.
I witnessed Travis being attacked by two other individuals.
Who?
I don't know who they were. I couldn't pick them out in a police lineup.
So what happened?
They came into his home and attacked us both.
She says a man and a woman wearing masks burst into the home and attacked both of them. Jodi claims she fled, but was too.
Yeah, so I'm not totally convinced of a seven fix, but I do feel like she is lacking the element that six brings, that the sixes like tell on themselves. Like they give you right, because they have such a heavy conscience. They'll they might bullshit a little bit, but like ultimately they're gonna come clean because they they also feel a need to justify themselves that I don't really see in Jodi. And I think to this day she really hasn't taken ownership of what she did. And I think she's still trying to raise money to get out of jail. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, you might cut it out of the video for a bit, but I also realized that it's 2:25 and I have to go in 5 minutes.
Oh, sure, okay.
For Yeah, it's for a housing related thing. Um, yeah, I mean, what I was gonna say, yeah, it seems to me that she doesn't really like get defensive, as I was saying, or doesn't have like a more like verbalized like I was just a poor heartbroken. Like there is none of that. Kind of. She's just more. No, I didn't do it. Because they won't believe me anyways. So kind of more of like how can I say this? But she's convinced. She seems very confident, almost against all the evidence of reality
Hmm.
in her ability to be like, this is beneath me. Kind of like she acts like the trial, the pain she's caused to people, that I feel like that compliant nature of two is trying to frame herself as this poor victim, but there is a huge chunk of her personality that doesn't care, and that's as in she's not affected by this in a way.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean she's still up to these shenanigans. So like this thing she was saying about, well, I'm ready to go to prison for life, whatever, and just deal with what I have to deal with, like clearly wasn't true. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's not like she's contrite and just serving her time and processing what she did. She's she's still doing her art, she's writing on Substack and still trying to work an angle here. Do you have like a final call on her type, G?
yeah. I'm going to go with SxSp. Two with a 9.1 fits. I'm leaning 297 after, especially after you convinced me more of the, especially looking at the artworks and better noticing her inability to register like danger or accusations on a more effective level. Um, I might be willing to I'm going to marinate more on the topic to see if she consider if she could still be 296 or look at her instincts a little bit more. I'm very sure social cis is not an energy that she has in there. And what else? Yeah, that will be it for now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go with my my impression with her being SxSo. Like she's just way too involved in the social narrative and the way she's perceived, in my opinion, to be SO blind. And I think two wing three, nine wing one. I'm just gonna stick with six wing seven. But leaving that open, like maybe we can revisit this. Maybe she is a 297 triple posi type, but yeah, so I guess if we have any follow-up, we can always record more or put it in the description box. So anyways, thanks for joining me, G. Thanks everybody
Yeah.
for checking out another episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hmm. Thank you so much for having me. As always, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, see
Hmm.
see
Right.
you later, G. Bye.
Hmm.